In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the new open back bracelet using the Rainbow Loom. And this is what it looks like. It has fishtails on either side, and then in the middle it has the bands that go horizontally, and you can see through them. They're spaced apart a little bit. And so here's what it would look like on your wrist. And I'm going to be showing you how to make this on the Rainbow Loom. But we're only going to be using 5 pins of the loom, and this can easily be made on the monster tail. So you would just use 5 pins in a row. So you would need the 2 end pins and then 3 on one side of the loom. And since I'm only working with 1 row of pins, I've removed the other 2. But if you have a loom that the pins don't come off, that's okay. And as I said, we're only going to be working with 5 pins. And you want to have the arrows facing towards you so that all of the opened ends are facing you. Now you'll need about 120 rubber bands for this bracelet, and I've decided to do black for the outside, and then I have Rainbow Loom jelly bands in the rainbow colors to do for the centers that go straight across. And so if you're following this pattern, you'll need 10 of each of these colors, and then the rest of the bands will be black. So I'm going to be starting with black. It's going to go from the first pin, it's going to go around the second pin and go to that third pin up. And I want it to go around the right hand side of the pin. And now from this pin, I'm going to again place another black band. It's going to skip the 4th pin and go up to the 5th. Again, it's going on the right hand side. I'm going to push that down. And now I'm going to take my first color, and this time it's going to go from the 2nd pin, it's skipping the 3rd and going up to the 4th. I'm always keeping it on the outside of the pin or the right hand side here. And so now what I want to happen is I want the black bands to go back on themselves from the center. So from this 3rd pin in the middle, I'm going to pick up this black band, and it's going to go around the outside of the pin and go back on itself to this upper pin. And now in the middle here again, I'm taking the other black band, and this is going around the outside, and it's coming back on itself to this first pin. So that's the pattern that we're going to follow for the rest of the bracelet. I'm going to push all of this down, and so now I'm going to add my second layer. So again, I'm starting with black. It's going from this first pin, skipping the 2nd and going up to the 3rd. Taking another black, and from the 3rd pin it's skipping the 4th and going up to the 5th. And now I've decided that I'm going to do 5 layers of each of the colors. So I'm going to stick with red, and this is going from the 2nd pin to the 4th. Again, always to the right side of the pin. And now I want the center bands, the black bands, to come back on themselves. So starting with a 1 on the top, it's going around the outside and to the very top. And this black one's coming off, going around the outside and coming back to the first. Going to push this down, and I'm going to add 1 more layer before I take any off. So once again, starting with black, going to that first pin and then skipping the next one, going from the middle, I'm skipping the next one and going up to the top. And now sticking with red, I'm going from the 2nd pin, skipping the next one and going up to the 4th. Push that down, and now I have these black bands in the middle to come off. So starting with a 1 on the top, it's going around the outside and to the very top. The next black band is coming off, going around the outside and going to the bottom. And so now that I have 3 layers on, I want to remove the bottom layer. And I always want the bands to go over the top and to the outside, to the right hand side of the pin, so the bracelet can grow on the outside here. So on the end pins, I need to take the bottom two. So I'm grabbing the bottom two black bands. They're coming over the top. And now for the red, we only have 3 bands on this pin, so I just want the bottom 1 band to come over to the right side. Now up to the next one, I have just 1 band of red. And then finally at the top, I'm having to grab the bands from the side, grabbing them from the left side, and I'm pulling them over the top and to the right. And it's 2 bands at once for the black, and then I'm going to push all of this down. And so now I'm going to add my next layer, so I'm back to black, starting on the first pin and skipping the next one. And now I'll go from the middle, skipping the next and going to the top. And now I want the red band to go on the pins that I didn't do, which is the second, skipping the third, and up to the fourth. And now I need these black bands to come off of the center. So I'm grabbing the top. It's going around the right-hand side and to the top. And the other one is coming off, going around the outside and to the bottom. And now every time that I put a layer on, I need to take a layer off. So starting on the ends here, I want 2 black bands at once to come off, grabbing them both and pulling them over. And now for the red, just 1 single band, and it's always going to the right-hand side. Again, same thing, 1 more red. And then finally at the top, kind of having to grab them from the left-hand side here, grabbing 2 bands at once, pulling them over and into the middle. Now I'm going to push this down, and I have 1 more layer that I'm going to use red for. And so I'll start my next layer. So I'm doing black. Just remember that you're skipping 1 pin every time. And now for the red, it's going from the second to the fourth. This is my last layer of red before I switch colors. And now the black needs to come off and go back on itself. Just making sure you're keeping it on the right-hand side of the pin every time. And now I need 2 black bands to come off. And then 1 red. It's going from the left side over to the right. And again. And now on the end here, I have 2 black bands to come off. And push that down. And so now I'm going to switch colors. And so I'm still sticking with black every time. And it's always starting at the bottom and going up. And now this time I'm going to do orange from the second to the fourth. And now I need the black bands to come out of the middle. So I'm just taking the top one and going up, taking the bottom one and going down. And now I have the bottom layer to come off, so it's 2 black, and then the bottom red. Just going over to the right, again with red, and then finally 2 black. Push this down, and you can see that your bracelet is going to start growing on the outside here. So I'm just going to continue on in this same pattern. As I've said, I'm going to do 5 of each of the rainbow colors in a row. And you're always starting on the first pin and going up to the third, then from the third up to the fifth. And then for the next layer, you're taking whatever your center color is and going from the second to the fourth. Then you need those black bands to go back on themselves. And then finally you can remove the bottom bands, 2 from the ends, 1 from the middle, and they're always working from the left side over to the right. So I will just fast forward here. When you have your bracelet to the length that you'd like it and you're ready to take it off of the loom, you should have 2 layers left on your pins. So you'll have 4 bands on the outside pins and then 2 on the center. So we're going to remove the bottom layer. So you want to take the bottom 2 bands from the outside and then 1 from the center. And the same thing on the other pins. 2 from the end here. And so now you should have just 1 layer on. And so what I'm going to do is take the colored band that's on the second pin, so I have purple, and I'm going to stretch that down to the bottom. And now I'm taking these 2 black bands and pulling them over the top. And I'm actually just going to take this purple band and move it closer here, since it's a pretty tight stretch. Just make sure you don't lose it off your hook and you get it right on that pin. And now I'm going to do the same thing for the other side here. I'm taking this top purple band, getting it on my hook, and I'm just going to move it to the pin above. And now I want the 2 black bands on the bottom to come over the top. So now I just have 1 single purple band on each of these pins, and I'm going to just pick them both up on my hook. Make sure they both stay on here. And now I'm going to take a clip. I have an S clip. You can use whatever clip you have available. And I'm just going to hook that through one side of the clip. And you can see that this bracelet does want to curl, but it shouldn't be a problem when it's on your wrist. And then go to the other side here. I'm just going to get this red band in the middle, and I'm going to hook it through the other side of the clip. And then here is your bracelet. So here's what it looks like on the one side, and then if you flip it over, here's what it looks like on the other side. And then here's the other one that I made that I had already showed you earlier in the video. So this was the Open Back Bracelet, and I hope that everyone enjoyed this tutorial. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook, post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of my latest tutorials. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those as well. Thanks for watching!